And hello, welcome back to episode 246 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis Brown. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you are here with us this week. I hope that you will stay for a very long time and bring lots of friends. If you have been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to rock with me. I wouldn't be able to be in this space without you, and I'm so grateful and thankful. So I want you to stay, continue to bring friends, share, like, subscribe, do all the things because we have growth to do. We have stories to tell and lessons to learn. So thank you for being a part of my journey. And so before we get into this week's story or this week's episode, I'd like to take an opportunity to be very foundational. It's really important to me to make sure that everyone who's here, who's listening or watching, that you understand what this is really all about. And so essentially, the Well Done Life is a space that I created, a brand that I created for women because I believe in the power of women. It is truly my testimony to pour into women because when I was at my lowest, I asked God that if He would allow me to move through, that I would share my story, the good, the bad, the ugly of it, as my testimony to showing that you can overcome and the power of God in your life and the power of women in your life. Because it does. Having a good community of women is so empowering and so important. And so that's why I created this space because I wanted a space where, as women, we could be vulnerable, we could share our stories, all of them, and we can inspire each other. There's no gatekeeping here. Everything is rooted in clarity. And then my second favorite foundation, which is love. Love is the key. Everything that we do in this space is about love. So I truly, just like I said, love to make sure that I am being foundational, making sure that you understand why we're here and sharing prayers with you. I've been standing on some foundational pillars. So I'm going to keep standing on them because I feel like, especially in the times that we are living in, it's essential. And so for me, one of my main pillars that we stand on here is peace. I truly am praying that you will have pockets of peace. I don't care if you have to sit in your car. I don't care if you have to go stand outside. I just want you to take a moment for yourself to breathe, a moment for yourself just to regulate your mind and your body and your spirit, because there's so many things that are thrown at us all the time. It is very difficult for us to make solid decisions when we're just constantly on edge, constantly triggered by, I hate to say it, by life in general. So I hope that you will carve out time for yourself to find joy, to find peace, to be able to breathe, to be able to regulate your soul, your mind, your body, and your spirit so that you can be clear, which is my second foundation. Clarity is really important, especially now. I mean, my goodness, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. There is so many things that are thrown at us every day. And I'm just not talking about from the world standard, but even just as being women, as being caregivers, as being wives, as being mothers, as being daughters. There's just so many different aspects to us. And so we are constantly ducking and dodging, trying to make it through so many different little landmines. And the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is the ability to be clear, the ability to sit in stillness, in peace, so that you can regulate your mind. And so in that regulation, you can see things as they are. The world isn't changing. People aren't changing. It's just people are showing us what they've always been. The world is showing us what it's always been. And now we have the blinders have slipped and we're just seeing things clearly. Clarity allows you to be able to make decisions in the best way possible. It's not always the easiest thing. It doesn't mean that it's always going to feel good, but at least when you are clear, you can see what you are facing ahead of you and you can make a decision based upon that clarity to move forward. And so I pray that you are surrounded in clarity in every aspect of your life. And so that's why I always like to toggle peace and clarity together because it truly is alignment when you can have both. And then my third foundational prayer that I am standing on, always I'm going to stand on, is love. I want you to have love. I want you to have good love. I'm talking good reciprocal love. You know, the love that feels good from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet kind of love. And it's not just from a romantic standpoint. I want you to have that as well if you desire it. But I also want you to have a strong community. It is very important to have people that you can ride with, that have your back, and that question you and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. But at the same time, they can catch you when you're falling, that they can support you and encourage you and nourish you. You need that. There is no one that is going to come to save us. Our community is going to save us. We are going to save each other. And in times like this, which I'll be honest, is not anything new, it's just something I feel like you have to be more present, more aware of. You need to make sure that your plot, your clique, your people, your crew, whatever you like to call them, is solid. You need people who are thorough. You don't have time to waste with people who you know would never be able to have your back. You know, the kind of people who would bring like like a water gun to a knife fight. And I'm not saying that literally, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. So make sure you have a good, solid, thorough group of people around you. And then rounding out my prayers, I'm always going to stand on abundance. I want you to be abundant. And I'm not just talking about from a financial standpoint. I'm always going to want you to have financial abundance. I want you to be blessed so that you can be a blessing to other people. But I also want to make sure that you are abundant in your spirit. It is so important to have spiritual abundance. You cannot chase monetary things all the time. You need to be creating moments and memories that are going to last a lifetime because life is fleeting. And so you want to make sure that you have those moments and memories in your mindset so that it can help you be the best version of yourself, help get you through when you are going through times of struggle. So, those are my prayers for you this week. I hope that you will accept them truly with my heart. I am so excited to be back. I took a week off. I was away with my husband. So, I'm really grateful everyone who checked in. Thank you. But it was nice. It's nice to be back. I'm recording now. It is approximately 2:04 on Saturday, February the 7th. So yeah, just getting it done. But it's been a hectic week, just trying to like settle back into everything. And it's a new month, a new season, new energy. And so I'm really excited about being here and talking with you. I have a new episode to talk about. Not we're through with our series, but I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about what this means in the season that we're in. There's so much going on. And so this week I'm kind of doing it differently. And I'm doing it differently because lately I've been noticing that I'm moving differently, not harder, not louder, just a little softer. And so I want to make sure that I am honoring the shift that I am experiencing. And so I wanted to take a chance today to talk to you about it. And so I'm going to do something I never do. I'm going to tell you guys what the title episode is in here, and we're just going to kind of build foundationally. I'm going to kick it old school for you. And so essentially, this week's episode is called Soft, Clear, and Unavailable for Chaos. And it has a subtitle, What It Means to Move Differently in This Season. And like I said, it's just, I've noticed some things about myself recently that I'm moving a little differently. I'm not harder, I'm not louder, I'm just moving with more intention. And I realized that I am truly not making rash decisions about myself anymore. At this point, I have noticed that when I am triggered, I will pause, I think, I choose. And that shift has been showing up for me in how I take care of my body, how I respond to situations, how I see people in the world around me. So today I want to talk about it, what it really means to move differently in this season, because I know I'm not the only one. And the reason I want to talk about it, because I want to talk about it from a standpoint of what it feels like, what it looks like, what intentionality is lived and not just talked about. Because we just kind of came off of my episode talking about, not changing anymore and living. So I feel like it's just important to keep trying to model those type of behaviors. So like I said, let's talk about it from the standpoint of what intentionality really looks like when it's lived and not just talked about. So, kind of breaking it down, let's think about it first and foremost, what it really means to move differently. And I really want to use this opportunity to kind of explain to you some shifts that I know for myself. It doesn't mean I've realized that moving differently doesn't mean that I've stopped feeling. it doesn't mean that at all. I've got lots of feelings, lots of emotions. I don't know about y'all, but like I feel like triggered all the time by things. It just seems like that's where we are right now. Like people just cannot help but try you, but I or try me, and but I feel like I've discovered that I'm no longer emotionally driven anymore. I am more so now not rushing to try to make decisions. I don't feel rash and impulsive. I feel like I have finally learned how to move differently because I trust myself. I'm not, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I want to kind of talk to you through that because, where are you possibly in your life recognizing that maybe you're moving differently, where you've recognized you're not as frustrated anymore. And that can be in the context of relationships with our friends, our family, our job. And it could be like the littlest thing, y'all. But you that used to trigger you, but now it's like, okay, I'm not triggered anymore. Like, and it's not like you have this like ta-da, like big, overwhelming aha moment. It just kind of occurs and it's just like, wow, I handled that differently, and I'm really proud of me on how I handled that. And so I want you kind of start thinking along that lines as we're talking through this episode, like, what does it truly feel to recognize, like, wow, you know what? I really am moving a little bit differently, and it feels good. It feels really good. And when was one of those moments that you noticed? Because, like I said, it's definitely not a season where sometimes it's all big to die. Not for me, it hasn't been. It's been slow, little steady moments of life that have shown me that, you know what, I have really grown. I have really healed, and I can navigate anything that is thrown at me because I no longer am afraid of it, and I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust the God within me as well to help me navigate through. So, let me kind of give you an example. One of my small moments, because I have been living in the small moments. Small moments just have been getting me through. One of them actually occurred this morning, or actually not even this morning. I'm going to say maybe like a few weeks ago. I am, for all of you guys have known, I've been on a health journey for over a year now. And, I've been working with Dr. Jodine Hill of JBH Medical. She's an obesity medicine and geriatric specialist, and she's been helping me lose weight and working with me. I have like a health team. That's a whole nother conversation we can talk about. But she's been working with me. I've been utilizing a GLP-1 to lose weight, but I've also been on a body recomposition journey. And so, as a part of that body recomposition journey, I have really started working out much more intentionally, not necessarily aggressively, I'm going to say, but intentionally, as well as making sure that I am prioritizing a more healthier lifestyle in regards to how I manage my macros and how I eat protein and just looking at the whole picture holistically. And so I have been in a season of trying to get to this goal weight that I have, and I haven't hit that yet. I've been in like a season these last couple of weeks of fluctuating up and down, and nothing that I'm worried about. Like, it is just a par for the course because my body is adapting. I've lost over, I think at this point I've lost mm, like I think about 60, over 60 plus, probably 60 plus pounds at this point. And so I'm, like a whole new person, but my body's trying to get used to this. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's really nice. I'm under 200 pounds. I have never experienced that, all these great things. And, Dr. Hill has been giving me great insights and feedback and trying to help guide me. But one thing that has always been in the way is me. And when I say that, I say that clearly now, being able to sit back and look at it. One thing that has always been in the way is me. And when I say that, it's because Even though I'm taking her advice, I would take some of her advice. I still was doing it my way. I was still doing certain things. And one thing in particular is working out. And she was trying to get me to a point where I would not work out fasted anymore, that I would eat. And I would give every excuse in the world, like, no, it's too early. I don't want to do this, da 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 da. Da. And it's always been kind of like that difference. And I just wanted to get up and get it done. So I don't want to eat. I don't want to slow myself down because I'm like, shoot, if I was able to, I'm rolling my butt out of bed at like 5:30 in the morning to get up and get dressed so I can work out. And now I'm not even working out as much at home as I was because I was Peloton princess for a long time. But now I'm like weightlifting mommy. So that means I have to get my butt up and go to the gym so that I can have access to what I need in order to build muscle the way that I want to build muscle. And so I got to do something different. I was like, I've already acquiesced that. So I don't want to have to get up and eat. And then one day when I was lifting the weights, I was so flat and so tired. During my first set, I was like, this ain't it. And I went to my little assistant. Yes, y'all, I love Chat GPT. I know there's a lot of opinions. I didn't ask for feedback about them, but me and my Chat GPT assistant have a very strong relationship. And so my assistant has been helping me get through. We worked it out. I explained what was going on, and my assistant was like telling me, okay, well, you need to eat in the morning. You need a little something to help you. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And so, yeah, I know that sounds crazy that I would listen to Chat GPT over my doctor, but and it really is not like that. But even though I'm sure if she's listening, she's thinking that it's not like that. But I needed that push, and I recognized that in that moment when I made that switch, and I did it the very next workout. I felt so much better. I had so much more strength. I was able to lift harder and stronger and do what I wanted to do. And I realized that by making that small adjustment to myself, by I was being obviously more intentional about how my journey is going to go physically and the performance that I was going to get, because I was going to be able to be better and be stronger. And like I said, for me, letting go of my way allowed me to recognize that I, I was going to be better served by doing something different. And it wasn't a failure. I didn't get stressed out about it. I didn't overanalyze it. I was like, I want to be the best version of myself, so let me let it go. And so the reason that I'm bringing that up, because I know it is a small thing, is I just want to make sure I kind of explain to you how it is really easy for moments like that in our lives, the things that we want to hold on to, our way of doing things, keep us in a cycle of unnecessary struggle. And they prevent us from being able to move forward and get the results that we're looking for easier. And so I want you to do what I did. I want you to stop romanticizing struggle and start choosing support. Yeah, I want you to do that. Because that's really what it was. I know for me, that's what I had to say. It wasn't, I was like, why am I sitting up in here burning myself out, stressing my body out, when all I really needed to do was just eat a little bit, give myself a little bit of fuel. I'm waking up early. My body's like, look, I'm hungry. I need some support. You want to go out here and do all these great things? We could do these great things, but just take care of me. And in that moment, I realized that by getting out of my own way, like I said, I stopped romanticizing struggle and I started recognizing that I'm worth it. I'm worth a little extra. I'm worth a little support. Why would I be denying myself my best version of me because I have some old antiquated way of doing things? Be open, be receptive, Pamela, and great things will happen. So I'm saying back to you, be open, be receptive, because great things can happen. Because like I said, if I hadn't really done that, it was like I was just going to continue to struggle. And if you aren't doing that, and it may not be like your body for you, it may be something else. It's just, where might an area of your life be asking for more care versus more push? You know? So just think about that. And so, like I said, we're talking about, intentionality with us, as self-respect, as part of the journey. And so now as we're continuing to weave through, let's talk about it in regards to where we are in regards to peace and regulation. Um and like I said, small moments where I've noticed now I'm moving differently. I'm shifting. I told you guys, I had been away last week with my husband. I didn't record. And I had a wonderful time. Even though I froze my behind off in New York, it was like brick. That's where my husband is. He's in upstate New York. And -3 is so different. Like Orlando, Central Florida, we were cold last week too, but -3, it's a whole new level of cold. But that's a whole nother story. And so when I was on my way up there, I had my work laptop with me and, working, just trying to get some things teed up. And when I got off the plane, I left my laptop on the plane. And when I left my laptop on the plane, someone else picked it up. I immediately went back in. Like, luckily, the airport is not too large. I was able to go right back in and I ran right into the crew and was like, hey, I left my laptop. And they were like, yes, you left your laptop. We gave it to somebody else. I was like, excuse me? Yes, this gentleman saw your laptop and he said he knew you and he would take care of it. And so we thought you guys were together because he was a black gentleman too. That's a whole yes. Yes. If you are thinking that instantly, yes. And I was traveling by myself. There is no other black gentleman traveling with me. Um, so that was a whole thing. That was the first thing that you're telling me. Like you let this person take my laptop because they were black, which was kind of crazy to me too. And so, long story short story long, they were like, yeah, but they have it, what have you. So we wound up going through kind of like a quick cycle of them telling me that somebody turned it in. All during this time, y'all, I did not get upset. I did not yell. I did not scream. I did not pitch a fit. I didn't say anything. I was just like, the only comment that I made is I traveled by myself. I wasn't with another black gentleman. So, and they were like, oh, right. That was the response. But I quickly moved past that, wound up going to security and just kind of working through somebody had it. It took a few days for it to resolve out, a day or two. But it did resolve out and I got my laptop back. Long story short. But as you can see, that situation can be very triggering. And I mean, especially in the midst of it, you gave it to someone or you let someone take it. You didn't take it. You let this person take it. And you told me that you let them take it because we're black, because he's black, I'm black. And you just assumed that all black people know each other and we all carry the same things, even though we sat nowhere near each other. But that's a whole nother story. In that moment, when all of that was happening, I was so proud of myself because I remained calm. Like I said, I didn't pitch a fit. I didn't do nothing. I was calm, cool, and collected. I was nervous about it a little bit. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to just go have to report it stolen. And I'm like, dude, I literally was like, whoever has it, you're going to be so miserable with that computer because it's literally locked down. Like, it's so locked down. It's not funny. It has my picture on it when you, so like, there's no way that it's not going to come back. And so I just like, it's going to come back. My husband was so supportive. He was just like, babe, it's going to be okay. I was like, it is going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I reported it. I got the case. I even went so far. I contacted my manager, IT. They already sent me another computer, and I was just like, okay, cool. If I know it's going to come back, but if it doesn't, I'm going to be okay. And I'm just going to pray, and I'm just going to realize that it's all going to work the way that it's supposed to. And I was like, let's go home and let's just go on. And we went on. And so literally we wound up getting it back like about 24. Yeah, it took a little over 24 hours for it to reappear. It took us a couple of hours at the airport when I got there that evening, and we were like one of the last flights in. So it was like a kind of late there, and nobody had it, or that we couldn't figure out where it was when I first landed. And I was just like, it's all good. I'm tired. I want to go home. My husband's like, I'm so sorry. I should have checked you, should have made sure that you had it. I hope I didn't distract you when you're getting off the plane. I was like, no, you didn't do any of those things. It's cool. It's going to come back. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to do my due diligence and report it, because from a security perspective, I don't want anything to happen, because, folks are able to jailbreak a whole bunch of stuff, even though I didn't really think they would get into that computer. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna let it rock. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I'm sure in any of those other circumstances, if that had happened to me at another particular point in time of my life, I would have been so stressed out. I would have been so emotional. And because, I mean, none of us want to leave our stuff on the plane. Like, it's such a stressful thing, and especially your work computer. But at the same time, I I recognize now that my calmness doesn't mean that I'm not, that I don't know what's going on. My peace is not passive. I mean, I knew what was happening, and I just made a decision not to let it take over, because my husband's like, oh, I don't want our trip to be ruined. I feel so bad. And I was like, my trip is not going to be ruined. This is our time together. This is something that is going to resolve itself one way or another. And I trust that it is all going to be well. And we're going to go on and enjoy the rest of our time. And it will be well. And look at what happened. It was. And I'm not saying that everything just magically always happens, but I'm just saying there comes a point in our life where it's just like, we have to make a decision to understand that staying calm doesn't mean that we don't understand what's going on. It just means that we finally trust ourselves to handle it in a totally different way that is wise. That we just take a moment to recognize that we don't need to react in order to prove that we're aware. And I felt wonderful sitting in that peace. I felt wonderful not being stressed out. I wanted to enjoy my time with my husband. I wanted to focus on the fact that I'm freezing and I can't worry about this computer. And I just wanted to believe it's going to come back. And look at what happened. It came back. And I didn't have to raise my blood pressure or lose myself in order for that to happen. And so I hope that you are kind of maybe seeing areas in your life by me explaining this, where there's a situation or two where you can step back, where you can take a breath, where you can recognize you don't have to pop off in every situation in order for you to be aware or to be engaged. Your calm, your peace is just as effective as your rage and your emotion. So, just saying. And so those are just some of the things, like I said, it's like been like small little things that I have noticed it. But one thing in particular where I really feel like I've noticed it now is in life itself. And when I say life itself, I'm talking about when dealing with people in reality. These are some very trying times. Like, February is one of my favorite months. Obviously, Black History, but it's my birthday month. I love February. And this February, even though we are 7 days in, it's already been a lot. 7 days in, we have seen a lot, haven't we? This world has so much going on right now. There is so much negativity, so much toxic behavior happening. But the one thing that I would ask, not that I would even like try to sit up in here and rationalize, because I'm not even trying to do that. I'm just wondering, when did people all of a sudden do they, realize that nobody's really changing? You know, the stuff that we're seeing, this should not be a surprise to anybody right now. I mean, seriously, I have to admit, normally for myself, and I do talk about it. I do love talking about politics and current events in life. I have a degree in political science, so I take what's going on very seriously. Um, and I just want to ask that all the time. Like, everyone is so triggered, but what are you triggered by? This is something that we have seen all the time. Like, people didn't suddenly change. They didn't. The people that are out here making all the noise, they've been making noise for a long time. This is a new behavior. And I guess in the way that, people like to stoke the fires of racism, let's just call it really what it is. When did that not occur? Like I'm trying to understand that. Because what we're seeing now, socially, culturally, politically, it's not new. It's just revealed behavior. I mean, it really is. This is nothing new. Nothing new. I mean, we could go back and study some of these people and and really look at some of the comments, some of the things that they've done. I mean, I cannot say enough, like thinking about, now as I'm recording, obviously everyone has seen the video that was posted by the president or on their social in reference to former President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama and depicting them as apes. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. That's not new behavior. I mean, this is the same person that, like I said, many years ago, put out front page ads in the Wall Street Journal for the Central Park Five, who were wrongfully accused and convicted of rape in Central Park. Like that's it's not new. This isn't new behavior. All these things that we're seeing, I mean, we see celebrities making salacious comments. We see ICE doing all these things. None of this behavior is new behavior. And I think what we all need to understand is that this is just clarity. It's not new, it's just clarity. And we can't get caught up in it. We have to understand that what you're seeing now is just giving you an opportunity to see what has always been there. And you shouldn't be surprised by that. This isn't new. It's just being revealed. What's been happening with these Epstein files, this is new. I mean, we are obviously many administrations have had this information and not been sharing it because, there's lots of different power dynamics at play, but none of this is new. And so I wonder, when do we stop allowing other people's behavior to shock us and recognize that what they're doing is just unchecked, reckless behavior and is now being brought forth in the light in this way as another opportunity for us to either recognize it and possibly look at what are we going to do to finally put an end to it, because all things are cyclical. All things are cyclical. I wish I could totally remember the phrase completely, but there's a reference. I'm gonna have to try to find it and see if I can put it in the show notes, where for history, where they talk about we are doomed constantly to repeat the cycles of history because we never tend to learn from it. We are always going to have to repeat it until we learn from it. Maybe this is our season now to finally just put all this stuff to bed. But what I'm saying this is not for us to forget about it or to try to turn a blind eye, but or not to be, shocked and upset. There's not anything wrong with that. But I think what we have to understand is we're being a gift by being able to see things clearly, because that is going to be the key to our survival. We won't make it through this if we don't see things clearly. That's why it's so important. You have to see things for what they are. A lot of this stuff is distraction. A lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors. A lot of this stuff is trying to stoke the flames and fires so that we can move into areas where potentially, you could have martial law, where they could suspend the elections. This is power play. This is people trying to save their behind at the expense of our freedoms. These are people trying to reshape the country into what they feel it should be. And we are at risk of losing ourselves, our democracy in this, if we don't wake up, if we don't stop being so shocked by the salacious and start getting shocked and really motivated and engaged by the real. The real is essential. You know what the real are? The real is those Epstein files. The real is getting to the root of what all these issues are and all the people involved. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. If you are involved, you need to be punished. You need to pay the cost and you need to be held accountable. It doesn't matter. And before anyone starts worrying about, excuse me, political affiliations, excuse me, I'm an independent. So save that energy. I'm an independent. Don't even waste your breath. I'm not for the Democrats. I'm not for the Republicans. I'm independent because there is treachery on both sides. Really, it's about the people. We have to recognize that what we are being given is a gift. And it is a gift of clarity. It's a gift of being able to see what is coming so that we can make strong decisions, so that we can possibly survive, so that we can overcome. So take this gift and run with it. And so I didn't want to turn this into a political stage. There are so many different things that I could talk about with that. And we can have another episode if you want to talk about it from a more political standpoint, because as women, we need to pay attention, especially as Black women. We need to be paying attention to this. Yes, we can sit down, we can preserve our peace. We're chilling. It's the 92%. I respect that. And I know for us, many of us, I know, we know what's up. Just wanted to offer that reminder, we have to pay attention. And so again, honoring clarity isn't cruelty. It's the key to our survival. And welcoming that in is only going to help set that up so more. Because really, kind of like what I've talked about, is that we're at this space now where we are looking at life, where we're integrating and realizing that what intentionality really is being kind to yourself. It from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, it is being kind enough to yourself to allow yourself to live in the truth. Allow yourself to see things as they are and recognizing that you can still feel deeply. You just don't have to let every feeling make decisions for you. You are in a space where intentionality is what happens when you trust yourself enough to pause. It's okay to pause. You don't have to run on full steam. Take a breath. You deserve it. And you have earned it. And you are worth it. You are worth it. And so this season it's not about control. It's about clarity. It's about honoring yourself enough to pause. It's about protecting your peace without hardening your heart, because we can still be soft and discerning, and you can be clear and compassionate. You can still feel deeply and choose wisely. It's not a season of being louder, it's a season of being clearer, and clarity is power. So, before we close, I want to offer you one reflection, just something to think about. What is one thing in your life that deserves a pause instead of a reaction? Just one. Just think about that. What area of your life, or what one thing in your life deserves a pause instead of a reaction? Start there. Don't overwhelm it. Like I said, for me, it's just started to occur in like small whispers and everyday aspects of life. It'll come to you when you least expect it. But honor that space, honor that, and build from there. And let it just envelop you, because you deserve that. You deserve this. So that is this week's episode. I want to thank you again for your support and your encouragement. I hope I gave you some things to think about. Please don't hesitate to share with me your thoughts, how you're growing, what you're doing to be more intentional, how you're staying soft, how you are navigating this crazy world, because I want to make sure that I am supporting you the way that you guys support me. I will make sure that I have all of my information in the show notes. Please don't hesitate to like, share, follow, give me feedback. This is growing. I hope I'm getting better on the visual front. I'm trying. That's where I'm going to put that. I'm trying. I'm going to be experimenting and doing more, because I like this and I love y'all. And it's time to grow and do things from a space of peace. So I hope that you are enjoying your Sunday while you are listening to this, or if you are listening to it after the fact, or watching this after the fact. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope everyone gets a chance to dance a little on Sunday. we deserve some joy in chaos. You can still manage both. I hope you will enjoy Bad Bunny, or Benito, as I like to call him. I'm very excited about Bad Bunny playing the Super Bowl. I plan on enjoying that section because I love his albums. I love Bad Bunny. He's amazing. And so I hope that you will have some joy, you will dance, you will laugh, you will have some love, and you will still be surrounded in clarity. You will still choose yourself, and you will still be at peace. And so I will talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye bye.